it said Lazy Boy still on the side of it. Yeah.
Hey Taylor, I got a question for you.
What's
So
up?
you still fucking with Magic? Are you keeping up with what's going on with Magic right now?
I've been not as on it the past like 2 sets, maybe 3. I haven't like scrolled through as much. I've been more into like Age of Empires and like Total War games. But I know Lord of the Rings just came out.
That's what's coming out. So that's what I want to talk about. There's a new Lord of the Rings base set. So if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, there's 2 things I want to talk about. See what you all think about it. But the new Lord of the Rings set has there's an old classic Magic card called Soul Ring. So they created like multiple versions of Soul Rings because there was like the different rings of power. Like humans got 9 rings. So they're doing serialized versions of the rings. Let's say like 001, 002. There's 900 human ones, 700 elf ones, 500 dwarf ones. So if you get one of these serialized cards, you're going to be in for it. But that's not the really weird thing they're doing. This is not the controversial thing they're doing. There's also a card called the One Ring of Power. And you can get a copy of that by buying the $50 Fat Pack. You're guaranteed to get a copy of this card. So getting this card to play with is not a big deal. Everyone will be able to get as many copies as they want. Okay. But they are making a serialized version of it because it is the One Ring. It is 001 of 001. It is literally a golden ticket. If you crack this card, Post Malone will buy this from you because Post is like huge into the game. Yeah. If you crack this card, without a doubt, he will buy it from you for 6 figures without thinking about it. And there are people right now who have already made those bids. So first off, I want to know what you guys think about.
I think that sounds really cool. Like that's pretty neat. Like that gets people excited for. I didn't know they were doing that. Yeah. I even like the proportional other rings. That's really cool. I didn't know they were doing a One Ring thing. That's really neat.
Yeah, I think
is the card even? Is it even like a really good artifact?
I hope it's really.
I hope the One Ring like do something to anybody else if they're using a ring, because that would make a lot of sense. That would
win every turn.
So what it does in non-Magic terms for the non-Magic players out there, it allows you to tap to draw a card, and drawing a card is like extremely valuable. It's like 4 mana. It's indestructible, so it's like really hard to get rid of. But every time you use it to draw a card, you put a counter on it, and then during your upkeep, because you've been using the ring, it damages you. But like if you never get to a next upkeep because you found a way to draw infinite cards, there's like a 2 card. I
appreciate that you tried to explain that for non-Magic people, but
it's an Elvish though.
I don't know what tapping
is.
It's
not in Elvish.
It is. I don't know what drawing is. I don't know any of those words.
Well, you know what Soren's language.
Of course it is.
That is so cool. I want it, and that does
the Black
like
Tongue of Morgoth.
So there's another thing. I got a feeling you guys are going to hate this about as much as everybody else, but I'm reading Reddit the other day, and they have a card for Aragorn and the elf he marries, Wed. And if you get the starter set for like $16, you'll get Arwen and Aragorn Wed, as well as I think there's a Sauron card or an IF Sauron card, and you're guaranteed for that $20 to be able to get 2 decks you can set down and play each other. And so I'd heard about it, but I had not seen the card yet. And I'm reading one of these subreddits, and there's a bunch of like goofy jerk off ones. There's like Circle Jerk and Free Magic and stuff like that, where it's not the main subreddit. So you can say a lot of things you normally can't say on the main subreddit because you'll get banned. And somebody was complaining that they had made Aragorn black. And I'm like, why the fuck would Aragorn be a black card? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't fit his character at all. So I go and look up the card on the main subreddit, and it's actually a green and white card. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Maybe there's multiple versions of Aragorn.
Did you not look down and see him clearly black?
No, so I didn't even pick up on it at first because that's not one of the first things I look at. It's Magic card. I look at the numbers and the stats and like everything else.
Yeah, well, I did read the Aragorn card, and even if it was the coolest picture ever, I'm not playing it. That's shit.
Right? Yeah,
they made Aragorn black.
They made Aragorn black for some fucking reason. Now,
is Arwen still white?
Arwen's still white.
Yeah,
and I don't like that because this is the fantasy world I care about. And Aragorn is a white guy.
Taylor, I've had to stay mum about Star Trek for years while Woody talks about how it's X Games and they're jumping off their fucking dirt bikes. All right. So how does it feel? How does it feel?
Don't you fucking change Aragorn.
They're remaking
my beloved characters.
They're fucking making them, Taylor.
It should be literally Viggo
Aragorn. Idris Elba's gonna be 007.
They should have gotten Viggo. You remember those cards? Maybe actually, of course, you guys don't because you didn't play the Lord of the Rings trading card game in the early 2000s. The Weta Workshop used to make these awesome looking cards. And like they could have gotten the picture of Viggo Mortensen looking Aragorn out as hell and then put him in there. And then I would have been, and then even if his cards was the same text and it still sucked, I'd still want it because it would look sick. It'd look cool. This new one, I'm not familiar with that character. I don't know who that is.
Right.
So no, thank you. And I mean, I don't really want to use it. It's funny being like, no matter what, I'm going to use whatever cards are best. Cause like, that's how you
I'm like kind of glad it's
good.
a shitty card.
But like, it'd be funny. Like they could make a card that like insulted the hell out of like me personally. Like Taylor is a retard and like me drooling. But if it was like, tap to draw 2 cards and deal 1 damage to your opponent, I'd be like, dude, I'm doing nothing, but I have a Taylor retard deck. Like that's how I play. That's how I win. But this, I don't like the changing of Aragorn one bit. Like, no.
It's nonsensical to me. Like, what the fuck?
He's an established canonical character, and it's just being shoehorned in for no reason.
Like, I love representation. Like, they made a couple of fat dudes on Magic cards, and I was like, cool, fat dudes on Magic cards. It makes me happy, right?
Festus,
right? But like, there's plenty of black. There's plenty of like black dudes on Magic cards, so I don't really get why Aragorn needs to be black for this set. Or like,
exactly,
and
Magic
like,
is not like a super exclusive thing.
Helping?
You can find a Magic card with Magic card is almost rule 34 for fantasy. Think of anything of any combination of things, and there's a Magic card of that fantasy layout. Like, so you're right. It's not as though it's like, well, we looked at the past 30 years of Magic cards, and they're 100% white people, and it's like, no. The game
there's
is.
An
if you're talking about like the racial aspect of it, it's one of the most diverse games.
In the third year of the game, there was a set called Mirage and then a follow-up set called Vision, and it took place on Jamara or something like that. Every character on every card was African-American. Or like they looked
black.
It was like,
and they have to be because that's the planet or the area they're coming from, so it has to make sense. Like,
right. So like, you can't tell me this
game
wasn't progressive. Fuck. I don't get it, man. I don't
world building is so much more important than shoehorned progressivism. Right. Like infinitely more important than that.
And we've had like
the most important thing is to make Aragon black.
His name's not Aragon.
That's that stupid dragon movie.
Aragon being black is critical, and I'm just gonna play those fucking Flying Eagles cards again and again to get maybe to the other side of the table. I'm not sure how to play this game.
I want to play one of these games with Woody, just like ignorantly not willing to learn. Like you can't do that, and you're like, yeah, I can.
Take my birds to your side of the table.
I'm gonna take my cards and go home. It's like, but they're all my cards.
When does your power supply finally arrive so we can play
new PC?